The Bromley District Angling Society has been fishing in these waters at Sevenoaks Wildlife Reserve for more than 70 years. Kent Wildlife Trust, which has managed the place since 2002, is trying to kick them out. What does the Trust find so offensive about the anglers?
I don't know. We provide free management, we provide over 1,000 man-hours a year of free labour, working on the trees and the banks. We contribute a lot. Our people are here 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They're the only people looking after the site. Kent Wildlife Trust staff are here fleetingly.
The Trust says evicting the anglers is part of plans for a wilder Kent. This includes upgrading the visitor centre to include a swankier cafe, improved toilet facilities, a car park for twice as many cars, room for 4 coaches and more toilets.
They have plans, which I've seen, to employ somebody to maximise the income, and one of the areas that they have to be involved in is applying for licences to hold weddings and glamping. Not on every site, maybe not on this one, but they've only got 3 main visitor centres, and this is the biggest one, I suspect. So they'll be looking to have weddings on this site, on a nature reserve.
It's irresponsible what they've done here, I think. From my opinion, I just think they want to turn this area, this reserve, into a cash cow. Charge you to park your car £3.50 a day on a weekend, probably charge you £5 for a sandwich and a cup of tea in the cafe, and I'm sure you'll probably have to walk through the gift shop to get to the cafe.
They have published on their website the plans to put in number plate recognition, car parking charges on all their sites, including this one, by the 22nd of February. Now, depending on where the cameras are placed, it may or may not catch anglers' cars coming in and out.
The anglers are not just concerned for their future fishing at the reserve, but the reserve itself, after the Trust opened up a sensitive area in 2020, turning a truly wild section off limits to everyone into a nature trail. This seems the complete opposite of the Trust's Wilder Kent policy.
This was always a place where nature could hide away, away from the madding crowds, and that's all changed. Now Kent Wildlife Trust have built this circular walk to draw in the public. Now you've got a huge increase in footfall in this very sensitive area, and it's completely ruined this part of the reserve.
If there are species there, or were there, that were sensitive to people and interaction with people, they won't be there now. That's not rewilding, that's the opposite, and that's something I don't understand.
Johnny has been coming to the reserve for about 20 years. To him, it's been somewhere to unwind on days off from working in London. To him, the thought of Kent Wildlife Trust banning angling is harrowing.
This is a very special place to me and hundreds of other people who are anglers and conservationists and have a vested interest in making sure this site is protected. From a point of view of not only managing the fish stocks, obviously, but everything, the entire ecosystem that supports it. It's been a devastating blow to myself and hundreds of other people.
The main gripe anglers have is the lack of management by the Trust, which owes them a lot.
They furloughed most of their staff through the lockdown when there were hundreds and hundreds of people here. There was nobody.
Throughout the past few months, I've been down here virtually every day as a visitor, more often than an angler, and I've constantly been picking up litter. I've constantly been enforcing the KWT's rules, and I haven't been the only one. The anglers have been very active in maintaining access to the site.
But it's not the only complaint, and it seems they're not the only ones complaining about the state of the reserve.
There are 4 or 5 hides around the site, bird hides. One has collapsed completely. One got burnt by vandals. The others are in a poor state of repair. They don't seem to be doing anything to improve them at all. Bird watchers have said that in recent years the number of birds has diminished There are less and less birds here every year. There is a sewage pipe, runs right down here, through to the main sewer over there. There have been 3 leaks of sewage in recent years into the lake which killed fish. Every single occasion when sewage leaks happened, it was anglers that spotted it. It was club members who dealt with it, along with Thames Water, Kent Wildlife Trust, Natural England. No interest whatsoever. It was entirely left to the anglers. If we're not here and that happens again, I suspect there'll be a disaster. There used to be benches here for people to sit on, but they don't look after them, they break and collapse. Another example of the neglect in recent years. Although we look after the swims, and we certainly, with their permission, remove any fallen trees. That's something we've always done. As I said before, we have lots of specialist equipment for getting trees out of the lakes, which Kent Wildlife Trust don't possess. And we've in fact lent them the equipment in the past so that their tree surgeons can get things out of the lake.
Speaking of falling trees, I spotted this while interviewing Mig. It's clearly being delayed by the branches of 2 other trees. I'm not an expert on trees, but I do know that if it does fall, it could easily kill a walker on the path directly below it. You can't really get much more wild than that. Kent Wildlife Trust refused to be interviewed for this video. Instead, it repeated the key contradiction it uses to justify its plans to revamp the park, that the high number of visitors put increased pressure on wildlife and redevelopment would help nature flourish. It did not give a reason why anglers need to leave.
This nature reserve should be kept as just that, an alternative, peaceful venue for birdwatchers, anglers and walkers alike. And the Wildlife Trust are obviously looking to increase the footfall here. And I honestly think it's entirely unnecessary, and angling is more than compatible with all the interests that people have in this place.
Kent Wildlife Trust have the head lease on the site, and we have a fishing licence, which was a 15-year licence, and there are 3 years left to run. They initially gave us 2 months' notice to leave and stop fishing. The licence actually says even if we breached any of the protocols of the licence, we will be given 3 months' notice to leave. We have never breached any of the protocols on the licence, and we've certainly never been notified of any problem. We've always stuck to all the rules and regulations. We fish within the Environment Agency and Natural England regulations for the site. So we see no reason why we should be asked to stop fishing. We have a contract.